Today, we are talking about how to recognize your strongest intuitive sense, the 4 main types of intuitive gifts, and how to stop sabotaging your intuition.
All right. So your strongest intuitive sense is linked to your preferred learning style. So think about how you learn best. Do you learn best when someone shows you how to do something, or when you watch a how-to video on YouTube? Do you enjoy listening to a podcast in order to learn something new? If you're a visual learner, then you'll most likely learn with graphics or visual representations of information. If you're an auditory learner, you'll most likely learn best when you can hear someone explaining to you what's going on. So your intuition works in the same way. You're receiving information in the form of images, sounds, and body sensations, or even a knowing. So intuition is actually all about truth. So as Carolyn Meese says, intuition is about practicing integrity and about living your truth. So she says, don't make an exception for that. The practice of intuition is about not betraying yourself, not in your actions, not in your words. It's a living truth. So once you establish that vibration, then what is not true no longer fits in your field. So in order to receive an intuitive truth or hit, you have to be comfortable with what is truth in your own life. And that's some wise words from Carolyn Meese. So,
Yeah.
Lucy, how about you? How do you experience intuition?
Hi. So like all of us, I experience a mix of the different clairs. But I would say that the sense that is strongest for me is through hearing. So I hear guidance through sound, and I also hear guidance from my inner voice. So I experience intuition through clear hearing or clairaudience. So I know that it's guidance from my intuition when my inner voice is very calm and kind and has an unassuming tone. So it's just there. It's like a calm, gentle presence. I also absolutely love music because music helps me to tune into what feels true. So going with what we were referencing through Carolyn Meese, it really helps me to tune into what feels true. And it also helps me to tap into creativity. So anytime I have a creative project on the go, if I feel blocked, I'll listen to music to shift that energy. Listening to music also helps me to express myself more clearly through creative writing. And like anyone who relates to clairaudience, I'm very, very sensitive to sound. So movie soundtracks have a huge impact on my nervous system. Now, there's nothing wrong with sweeping, grand, epic soundtracks, but to this day, I cannot watch horror films without the sound turned right down or sitting like this, like completely blocking my ears. So clairaudience is also really helpful in my work with clients. I find that I'm able to listen very carefully, not just to what they're saying, but how they are saying it. So I can hear when people aren't in their integrity, or when there's some kind of incongruence between what they're communicating and what they're actually feeling or sensing. So this kind of intuitive information is really, really helpful in guiding them to dig a little deeper, to identify their true feelings, to gain a much greater perspective around their problem, and to find a clear and calm way to move forward. So Morgan, how about you? How do you experience intuition?
Yeah, so I do experience many of the clairs,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say the sort of the top one, the one that it's more predominant, is clairvoyance. So I do experience a lot of dreams, a lot of vivid dreams. Some are even premonition dreams, and others just have a clear message. I can also see colors. And sometimes when I close my eyes and listening to music, I can see the music and the notes in colors, which is really cool. Yeah, so clairvoyance, and definitely that helps me in the work that I do and when I'm working with clients, because I can see it's like a puzzle, and
Mm-hmm.
I can see how pieces fit together. And yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. And maybe maybe as we talk more about in the coming weeks about human design and how that connects with intuition, maybe we'll see something in there that talks about that more.
That's so amazing. I love how you describe that, that when you listen to music, you can actually see the visuals. That's really special. That's beautiful. Awesome. Thanks. Okay, so let's talk about the main intuitive gifts that we're going to be touching on today. So the first one that we're going to talk about is clairvoyance, which is what Morgan's just been referencing. So clairvoyance means clear vision. It refers to receiving intuitive information in the form of visions or pictures. And clairvoyance is more about seeing with the third eye or the mind's eye. Although, of course, some people are able to receive intuitive information with their physical eyes as well. So visions in clairvoyance are generally symbolic, although they can be straightforward. And information that comes through like this may come in a variety of different forms. So it could be dreamlike. So as Morgan mentioned, through dreams, it can be an impression of color that you see, a picture, perhaps a visual memory, or even a kind of visual movie that plays through in your mind's eye. So you may be clairvoyant if you often see solutions and answers in your mind, your primary learning style is visual, and you prefer to have information presented to you in a visual way.
And the next one is clairaudience. So clairaudience really means clear audio or clear hearing. So it refers to receiving intuitive information in the form of sounds or voices. For some, this is very strong, and they hear the voices as though someone was in the room with them talking to them. Although for most, it's a mental voice. It can be thought of as the still small voice inside. This is usually literal and doesn't work with symbolism as much as clairvoyance does. So you may be clairaudient if you often hear the answers to your mental questions. Your primary learning style is auditory. You prefer to listen to information, or you're especially sensitive to soundtracks and sound effects in movies, like Lucille mentioned.
Awesome. Okay, so the next one is clairsentience. Now, clairsentience means clear sensation or clear feeling. So it refers to receiving intuitive information in the form of feeling physical sensations in your body and or feeling emotions, the emotions of others. So if you find that you're especially sensitive to picking up on your aunt's headache, for example, or you feel the emotions of everybody else in the room that you're in, then you may well be experiencing clairsentient intuition. So you may be clairsentient if you often get a gut feeling about people and certain circumstances in your life. And if your primary learning style is kinesthetic, meaning that you require your whole body to be involved in the learning in order to process new information.
And last but not least, we have claircognizance. So claircognizance means clear knowing. The experience of claircognizance is different for other from the other modalities, as it is only linked to a feeling of certainty. It is knowing by knowing it. When you get information in this way, it may feel like you're downloading the information from the universe, or that the information came out of nowhere. It may even randomly pop into your head. So you may be claircognizant if you know the answers to questions without knowing how you know it. Ideas and solutions seemingly pop into your head from out of nowhere, or you tend to have a very analytical mind.
Okay, fantastic. So there's another lesser talked about Claire, and that is the gift of psychic smell. So it's also called clairolfaction or clairolfaction, which is the ability to smell fragrances of loved ones who have passed over, for example. The gift of psychic smell also shows up in those who have a really uncanny ability to tell if someone is lying. So they're able to smell a rat, you may have heard that phrase, or they're able to sniff out the truth, right? People with this heightened intuitive sense have also been known to be able to smell when there are certain chemical changes in the human body that are associated with pregnancy or maybe some types of illness, for example. So the gift of psychic smell is often directly linked to clairgustance as well, or clear taste, seeing as taste and smell are so closely aligned.
Yeah. So we're all intuitive. Each one of us has this. It's not anything, say special for certain people to have it and others don't. So if you do feel that you're not intuitive, you might actually be sabotaging your intuition. So we're going to talk about how to stop sabotaging your intuition. Hopefully it's helpful for you. So we tend to get discouraged when we start developing our intuitive gifts because we've been taught that to expect like all these bells and whistles and this fanfare around when we receive an intuitive hit. Like it's a big, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, but remember, we've been receiving intuitive information our whole lives. So it will actually be information that feels very normal to you.
That's so true. It's so true about the bells and whistles thing as well. So we often use logic as a reason to not follow our intuition. So we dismiss the information that we receive as illogical. But often what the mind says is logical isn't actually always true, right? So every time you dismiss your intuition for the more logical approach, take a moment to ask yourself, is this really true for me? Okay. So we sabotage our intuition by trying to do it all at once as well. So we try to do it all at once in our head, resulting in a type of intuition overload. What I mean by that is we receive the information from the intuition and then we try and interpret it straight away, and that just gets to be a real muddle, a bit of an information jam. So one of the ways to prevent information overload is to write down the intuitive information that you receive, even if it makes no sense at first, and then leave it alone for a bit and then come back to approach the interpretation of that information separately.
Those are good ideas. Yeah, so, and here are some more practical ways for you to work with your intuition. So if you're clairvoyant, so that's visual, keep a dream journal and allow colors and visuals and even symbols to speak for you, or sorry, speak to you. Maybe they speak for you, but to speak to you. So get familiar also with the colors of the chakras and what they symbolize and what they symbolize to you. So in human design, all the head gates, if you're familiar with human design, all the gates from the head center, so gate 61, 63, and 64, are all connected to the pineal gland. And so that's a great indication of clairvoyance as one of your intuitive senses.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're clairaudient, practice listening. Okay, find a spot in nature outside and practice listening to the sounds around you. It can also be really, really fun with your clairaudience to practice imagining specific sounds. So imagine the sound of the morning bird song. Imagine the sound of the breeze in the trees or the waves gently lapping on the shore. So it can be very, very helpful to create music playlists to complement your different moods if you're clairaudient, especially if, like me, you have gate 22 defined in your human design chart. So we're going to be going into human design and intuition in a lot more depth next week. So be sure to join us.
Yeah. So, okay. And if you're clairsentient, track the sensations and emotions that you're feeling. Get present with all these physical sensations that you notice and see if there's anything that comes up for you when you're around different situations, people, and places. So it's really great to also optimize your physical comfort. So that's in like ensuring the space around you feels comfortable and that you feel relaxed in your body.
Awesome. It's really important. Okay. So if you're claircognizant, build your confidence in what you know. Practice tuning in each day, even if it's just for 10 minutes with your journal, tuning in to what you know to be true. People who are claircognizant often report feeling a sense of doubt after they've received a full intuitive hit. So there's a sense of questioning yourself, right?
Ah,
So one of the ways to mitigate this is to practice feeling calm and confident in your physical body. You can do this through having a strong, open, and confident posture that
mhm.
signals to the body that it is safe to be open and it is safe to receive information that is true.
Ooh, that's
And
good.
remember, yeah, and remember with all of this that it's important to keep a sense of humor about it all.
Mhm.
Humor and laughter is such a great way to stay in a high vibration, and we all get more intuitive hits when our vibration is lifted.
Absolutely. Okay, so Lucy and I have a question for you all. What is your strongest intuitive sense? Is it clairvoyant, clairaudient, claircognizant, clairsentient? Any of these we talked about today, which one do you feel is your strongest intuitive sense? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to chat more about this, and join us next week. In the next video, we're going to be diving into human design and intuition, and where to find it in your chart, and what kind of clues you can get from looking at your human design chart.
Exciting.
Thanks.